could see me too.
Yes, ma'am.
Today cameras one.
I'm Sam Hyfo. Welcome to Entertainment Weekly's Comic-Con Suite. I am joined now by the cast and creators of Vampire Academy, one of, I feel like, the most anticipated shows coming up. I have to say, I tweeted one thing about it this morning, and it was like, you got all these new followers, and I was like, why? And then I remembered you all. So thank you. This is just really a chance for me to thank you all. No, but I want to start at the beginning, which, Julie, we've talked about this, but for you all, how did this all start?
This started in about 2007, actually, when I was on holiday, just chilling by a pool reading my latest favorite YA books, and I read Vampire Academy, and I think I read multiple Vampire Academies, because there were at least a few out at the time. Yeah. And I thought, God, this is a good book. God, I would love to make this into a show. And only then in 2007, nobody really gave a crap about what I read. And so I just, Marguerite was on the holiday with me, so she read the books too, and we were like, oh, wouldn't this be fun? One day, haha. And then, it took until about 2021 when I moved over to Universal and was trying to find shows to do with Peacock. The question was, what's the one show that you've always wanted to make? And I said, it's Vampire Academy. And I sort of thought they'd be like, okay, but I should have known because everyone wants a vampire show. They were like, yes! So I called Marguerite and I was like, I just got Vampire Academy. Do you want to do it with me? And she's like, no! Haven't you had enough?
That's a wee exaggeration. So just wanted to know how we were going to, do it fresh. And I had read the books back in the day, and I thought I liked them. And then all of a sudden I went back to them and went, oh, I read all of these. I loved these books. And I was like, oh, I'm really in, and they're perfect for now. And that's when we were like, oh my, why, what an idiot I would be not to do this. Yeah. So I was very lucky, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, almost if we had made them back then, they probably wouldn't have been very good because we were very young and new and silly. But
you made a pretty good show a couple years later,
I did
Julie.
actually. I slept on. But also, it's the timeliness of the content of the books, which you, I know, haven't read them, but... Yeah. It's two young women who have been best friends their entire lives, who are living in a society that, as they grow into adulthood, is basically decided that their friendship is no longer acceptable according to societal norms. And the society itself...
Yeah, it's a class system that is devolving, and everybody recognizes, wait a minute, this is an unfair system, an inherently unfair system, and people are waking up to it. And you're like, what better theme could you possibly work on now that everybody it resonates with everyone, but it's also with vampires and castles and all the good things, but it's a tale that we really understand and recognize.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about those two friends. Were you all aware of Vampire Academy before you came to this? How did it all start for you?
Absolutely. I'm supposed to talk into
this,
right?
That'd be great.
I actually read the books when I was like a young teen. My sister was really into them, and I stole her books, and I read them all. And I loved them. I mean, it was like the late 2000s, and vampires were very much happening at the time. And read them, loved it when the movie came out, wanted more movies, was so disappointed that they didn't do any more. So, like, when we got the opportunity to, like, join this project and do this, I was just like, I called my sister, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be Rose Hathaway. She was excited.
Yeah, I actually didn't even know about the books. Like, when I got the email, I actually just saw Vampire Academy. I was like, oh my God, like, that sounds so fun. And I read the sides, and I was, like, obsessed. I had such a good feeling about it. And then afterwards, I saw that Julie Plec was a part of it, and I was like...
She didn't even realize
oh
at first.
My God. And then I looked into the books, and I literally read the first one in, like, 2 days. And I was like, oh my God, like, this is perfect to make a series of this. Like, this is amazing. And, when I got the call, I was, like, ecstatic. I was going crazy.
Yeah. Well, I know when you're casting a show like this, chemistry is crucial between friends, between romances. And I know from Julie that this was Zoom casted.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm curious from you all, what was your experience like auditioning for this show via Zoom? How weird is that?
Personally, I'm so glad it was on Zoom because I get a little bit nervous in the room. I was just like, this is a perfect opportunity to try and bring the character to a screen. It's probably worked out better, really, hasn't it?
Yeah.
The power of Zoom, and I'm from halfway across the world, so maybe we never would have seen each other. So very, very lucky. And I'm going to say it, we nailed that Zoom. nailed that, dude.
We did.
nailed that,
How
dude.
did you celebrate after we
Little
logged
dance,
off?
and I mean, I just kind of sat there. I got a video of me going, "Oh my god, expletive!" Yes.
Oh my god! Well, I recorded the whole thing on my photo booth on my computer, and as soon as we clicked off, I stood up and I was like, "Yes!" And I started dancing to BTS Dynamite, which is my favorite song. And I did the full routine. I'm like looking at myself in the photo booth camera, and like, "Yeah, that was great. What a chemistry read. This is going amazing."
She does that after every take as well.
Literally, no, don't stop, don't.
Yeah. What was the process like for you all?
I mean, oh my god, actually, my callback was on Zoom, and I remember I was so nervous because, again, this is when I realized that Julie Plec and Marguerite McIntyre are a part of this, and I was like, okay, no pressure. I was like, it's fine. And then they tell me, okay, it's on Tuesday. I'm like, amazing. And then I get a note on my door, like, you're having intense construction on your roof that day.
Oh, no.
And I was like, no, like, please, God, like, no. I was like, it's fine, it'll be fine, everything's okay. I logged into the Zoom, and I was like, hey, like, how are you? Like, I just want to say that there's good, and it was like, and I was like,
But honestly, that's half of two things got her this part. Yeah, because there is literally a skyscraper being constructed next to her wall with a crew of 900 million men banging things, and she does not miss a beat. She stays focused. She doesn't let it get inside her head. So we're like, all right, she's a professional. She's half hired. And this is Andre. Andre will be able to appreciate this because there should be like a class about how to Zoom for auditions, because when we had written this fake scene where Christian and Lissa are like about to kiss, and the whole scene is about how they're like slowly getting closer and closer and closer, like even though it's forbidden and the tension's high. Freaking Danny is like getting closer to the Zoom. Yes. So she's coming into her own extreme close up. And did that throw you? Because it was so sexy.
Well, the first thing I thought when I got into that Zoom call was just like, oh, this girl's too pretty. I'm not gonna do this. But the whole Zoom thing kind of threw me off too, because like I was living in a little one bedroom in Toronto, and my rooms were just like bright green. So the minute I got this Zoom call back, I was like, I gotta go to my mom's house. I can't do this. I gotta go somewhere with like actual nice like pastel walls and everything. But you know what? Zoom is really interesting because when you get to like be in your own space and kind of perform there, there is a level of comfortability there. And I have to say, in our chemistry read, I felt really comfortable with you, even with her just like slowly going into the camera. I thought it was really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was hot. It was honestly hot. Yeah.
Hottest Zoom ever.
Yeah. You didn't think it was possible, but
Yeah.
we were like, huh.
Yeah. Well, for you all, had been writing these characters. Did they change anything about the characters for you when you finally got your cast in place?
Small facts.
Okay.
So, as I said, Peacock was, gracious enough to be like, that's the show you want to make? Great. We're going to make it. And we're going to make it in September. And this was May.
We started in April.
Yeah, end of April. Yeah, we started at the beginning of April, right? So I hadn't even written a script, didn't know what the pilot was, and they just said you're going into production in May. I mean, in September. So the first thing we had to do was just write dummy sides.
Oh, wow.
And so we're on the plane flying to Spain for location scouts, writing the Christian this scene and the Meredith and that. And I think
what are they doing? I don't know.
2 of them actually made it into the pilot when all was said and done.
Did actually.
Yeah.
So
I wonder why my scene-
we didn't even know. Yeah, we didn't even know who those characters were as we're casting these actors. It was crazy. It's not. I wouldn't recommend it as a process.
But yeah, I would say that they did change it in that. I mean, I think the core of all of those characters are inside of these humans. Like you could tell all of that. But then as you get to know them and you know their availability, all of these guys are really emotionally available. They're wired up as actors, which I, as an actor, would really appreciate.
Yeah.
And it means a lot. And so there's nothing you can't write.
Yeah.
There's nothing you don't have to shy away from anything. So that was really meaningful.
Yeah, and we knew that Dimitri needed to be Mr. Darcy, Rose needed to be a flippin' firecracker, Lissa needed to be elegant and full of compassion, and Christian needed to be rootable even in his outsider status, and so he needed to be a genuinely likable human.
Yeah.
And and here we are with exactly that.
And here we are. Amazing. Well, thank you guys for coming through our suite. For everybody else, stay tuned to EW.com for all your Comic-Con needs.
Thank you.
Thank you. Amazing.
I think we're done.